Players Coalition does not end problem for league. Hush up and stand. You might think it's that simple, given the significant step the NFL is taking in partnering with players for a social justice initiative that will involve an estimated $89 million over 7 years. Not quite. The NFL's PR problem stemming from the national anthem protests is hardly squashed just because the league is throwing money at its migraine headache of an issue. Sure, Malcolm Jenkins, the Philadelphia Eagles safety who is one of the key leaders of the Players Coalition that struck a deal with the NFL, has declared that he'll no longer raise a fist during the anthem to protest social justice inequalities. Yet it's clear that Jenkins does not represent all players. There's resistance to the resistance, if you will. Colin Kaepernick selected Sports Illustrated Muhammad Ali Legacy Award winner USA Today Sports Week 13 NFL picks. That's why New York Giants defensive Olivier Vernon declared that he will continue to kneel during the anthem. Same thing for San Francisco 49ers safety Eric Reid, whose protests go way back to the start of this movement when he knelt alongside now former teammate Colin Kaepernick. That's why 3 Miami Dolphins players, safety Michael Thomas, receiver Kenny Stills and tight end Julius Thomas, are expected to continue their protests. Ditto for Kansas City Chiefs cornerback Marcus Peters, who in recent weeks has opted to come out of the tunnel after the Star-Spangled Banner. I'd expect little change from the likes of Seattle Seahawks defensive end Michael Bennett, Oakland Raiders running back Marshawn Lynch and Los Angeles Chargers tackle Russell Okung. It's apparent, as more details emerge about the agreement between the NFL and the Players Coalition headed by Jenkins and former receiver Anquan Boldin, and the process for striking a deal, that there is another layer in play. For some players, this agreement feels like a hush money concept. The end isn't in sight in this country, Reid told Slate.com on Thursday, referring to systematic oppression of minorities. So, for me, protesting is the only way I feel comfortable with saying I'm doing the right thing. Reid called the talks leading to the agreement a charade and criticized Jenkins for negotiating with the league without involving others in the coalition, several of whom attended a meeting in New York with Commissioner Roger Goodell and some team owners in October. In perhaps his most revealing comments, Reid maintained that Jenkins directly linked the protests to the NFL's financial support. When he asked me if I would end the protest in exchange for the donation to announce the partnership for the proposal on Thursday, I was like, dude, no, Reid told Slate.com. But a high-ranking NFL official told USA Today Sports on Friday that the league believes players should stand if they want and that the deal with the players doesn't include an agreement regarding protests. The person spoke on condition of anonymity because of the sensitive nature of the topic. Still, according to an ESPN report, Goodell is furious that the new initiative won't end the anthem protests, which had dwindled in recent weeks to include only a handful of players. Yet Goodell can share some of the blame that the controversy that evolved to this point. The issue has polarized fans. Some are turned off because Kaepernick, seemingly blackballed, still doesn't have an NFL job despite the dearth of quarterbacks, while others carry the spirit that has drawn frequent rebukes from President Trump, that the protests are a slap at patriotism and the military. Regardless, it's another knock on Goodell, who reacted slowly when the protests began last year with Kaepernick, and wasn't moved to action in dealing with players until the league came under attack from Trump in September. Now, while the league moves forward with an initiative that involves education, efforts to improve relations with law enforcement and communities and yes, a marketing plan to spread the word, more layers have emerged that raise questions. Reid renounced his association with the Players Coalition this week, as did Okung and Thomas, questioning the integrity of the process and striking a deal with the league. That rift is discouraging on one level, as the players were originally drawn together by the same purpose, to raise awareness and engage in actions to address social inequalities. Yet Reid apparently views the agreement as selling out, even though the league's immense reach in money could advance the cause. No, the protests won't go away completely. For some, they are further emboldened to protest. If they don't like it, Vernon told reporters this week, don't come to the game. Except it's not that simple for a league in crisis.